Yes, there are. Darrell Jazz Johnson here, Fathers and Sons Magazine, MSG Varsity, RazandJazzSports.com. I am here with the CEO of Consumer Electronics Association, Gary Shapiro, and noted author as well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific. Thanks for having me.
Great. You're here as a author as well. So can you tell us a little bit about your book?
So I have two books. One, The Comeback, with a foreword by Mark Cuban talking about our strategy as a country should be about innovation. And the second just came out this year. It's called Ninja Innovation, and takes the idea of martial arts and it applies it to the business world, and basically conveys the fact that you have to build a team, you have to think out of the box totally, you have to prepare, and you have to really, even though you have a great plan, you have to be flexible enough in battle to do what's right. And it applies it to countries, businesses, and just to us as individuals, as people. You should always be out there learning, thinking, taking in new things, taking opportunities to do things, meet new people, and it's a personal manual as well.
In terms of education on innovation, what are some areas that you think, if you were mentoring people, they should go out and pursue education in?
Well, I think you have to be willing to take risks, and it's great to specialize in one very narrow area because that's good, but you also have to go into other areas because innovation and creativity is putting diverse things together in a way that makes sense. So I always, we have over 100 employees, and I always tell our employees, I love that you love your job and work here all the time. Go do something else. Go volunteer. Go, spend time with your family. You have to have a balanced life. You have to be balanced physically, mentally, emotionally, culturally, and also about what you know. And that will make you better for everyone and probably live longer as well.
One of the things that you talked about, which I think is a great term that I will probably use, is a 5 cent experience, 5 cents experience that you get from attending a live concert, a live sporting event. Did you coin that phrase and explain that to our viewers right now?
I've been using it. I don't know if I coined it, and I don't know if I copied it, but it is true. I mean, we know we have 5 senses, and we use them for information. You know, when you're talking the phone with someone, you miss a lot of the body cues, or when you're emailing, especially, is dangerous, or something in writing, because you miss so many of the cues, and sometimes you don't know whether someone's angry, or they're kidding, or what they are. So, and even with Skyping and video chatting, you're missing a lot. You're missing a lot of the emotion, and sometimes you want to touch someone. You want to determine in your eye contact, are they trustworthy? Can you do business with them? Can they be your friend? And that's why conferences, trade shows like the International CES, even sports and concerts, you want to go there. You want to get the excitement of the crowd around you. You want to feel it. Humans are social animals. We want to be with each other. We want to learn from that. And it's like everything else in life again. It's a balance. So, you want to be out there talking. You can't spend your life on a computer or watching a television. You got to get out there, as much as I love technology.
How does technology help companies find those people who would most like to experience that 5 cents experience?
So like the music industry is a great example. They suffered from technology for a while, but then they figured it out that, it allows you to identify who your fans are around the world. And then once you identify your fans, you can figure out where you should have your concerts, and then you can market to those people. So technology has enhanced the ability to have a great live experience. It's also cut down on the number of dead trees we use for paper to try to alert people of things. It's obviously hurt the Postal Service, but that's the nature of change itself, is that we are becoming more of an electronic world, but still we have to get together. And, there are winners and losers in that, and if the loser is the people who make paper, that's so be it.
Final question, and it's a general question. Besides your 2 books, you make television appearances, you write for Forbes.com as well as other places. Where can we find most of your work?
Well, if you go to ce.org, that is our website for our organization of technology companies. We have something called the Innovation Movement, and people just sign up for that. I write several op-eds every week on a range of issues, but mostly focused around innovation and technology and where we're going and what we're doing and what we should be doing or what Washington should be doing. So that's where we are.
We are back with Gary Shapiro, and we're with MSG Varsity and Fathers and Sons, and Mr. Shapiro has four sons. So tell us about your 4 sons and what 5 cents experience have you enjoyed with them?
I am the third of 4 sons, and I have 4 sons, no daughters. But what I actually, in common with those sons is, and ninja. I have a black belt in karate, and I got it with 2 of my sons. And what I always say to them is be a ninja. Think outside the box. Solve the problem. You want to get ahead in life? You want to get ahead at your job? You know what you have to do? You have to solve someone else's problem. You have to figure out who your boss is or what a problem is in society, and you have to solve it. And you have to get away from making excuses. You have to stop saying it's not my fault, and you have to create the solution. You have to get inside your boss's head or a potential customer's head and figure out what they want, and then you solve it. And you know what? You'll go up the corporate ladder or you'll create something that matter, and that's the difference. And that's why I always say to my kids, be a ninja, solve the problem. You know, if an employee comes back to me and says, I can't do it, I hit a brick wall. Well, when you hit a brick wall, jump over it, break through it, tunnel around it, become invisible, become a superpower. Come up with another way of getting to the objective. Maybe what we talked about first was the wrong way. Come up with a new way of getting to that same objective. And that's what it's about in life, is solving problems rather than making excuses.
It sounds like you have or had a great father in your life who was very influential. What are some of the most important life lessons that you learned from your father?
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked it, because my father I was at dinner last night saying the nicest person I ever met. He was nice to everybody, and he gave time to people. And I'll never be as good as him. I mean, he just gave time to everybody. One of the lessons was be honest. It's a lot easier. You don't have to spin a lot of tales and dance around. As a father, he did what I can't do. I wish I could. He's very non-judgmental. When I got fired from a job, and I'll never forget it because I had alcohol when I was 16. And it was mortifying to me. And instead of chiding me, he saw I was in pain, and he just picked me up from the job, never said a word, and he knew when to not say anything. So he didn't judge me. I've done things in life that maybe I shouldn't have, and he knew I was learning from them. So rather than telling me what was right or wrong, he would always ask questions, or he would always lead me. And that's an amazing skill. I wish I had it.
That really does sound like an amazing skill. What are some other things that your father has taught you, or some other skills that he had that you have not yet been able to acquire yourself?
There's so many. I mean, incredible patience. I am one of the most impatient people. I want to get things done. I want to move. But and the other thing is as I was growing up, I would always say, Dad, will you play a game of cards with me? Will you play chess? Things like that. And no matter what he was doing, he would stop reading his book or stop watching television, and he would do it with me. And I realized I can't do that for 24 hours with my kids. I want to finish what I'm doing, and it's tough. And I mean, that's what he would do. And he would also really stress to me the importance of reading, which I thought was really important, and getting into different areas and exploring different areas. So we didn't, he was a school teacher. We didn't have a lot of money, but that's all right. He taught us the value of hard work. When I was 8 years old, I was doing factory work, piecework at home. I was mowing lawns. I was shoveling snow. I was delivering newspapers. I was doing whatever. I was taking cans and collecting them and taking them for recycling scrap. And I became a dishwasher. I became a busboy, a waiter, then a manager. And I worked my way up to management positions. He taught me about hard work, and that was an important life skill.
Well, I think one thing that we've learned about you is you are a hard worker. You're very knowledgeable on a lot of different subjects, and I think that's something that our viewers out there and myself as well will be able to take away. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Shapiro.
Well, thanks for asking about my dad.